Today's episode of Dungeon Crawlers Radio is brought to you by Gamers Inn, your one-stop location for all your gaming needs. Located in Lehigh City, Utah, their fun and friendly staff will be more than happy to answer any of your gaming needs. Just remember, Gamers Inn, it's where adventures begin.
It's time to power up.
Autobots, roll out! Broadcasting live from the DCR studio.
Oh yeah!
The Geek Revolution starts here.
Excellent!
Get ready for the #1 hit geek radio show out there.
Well, it is impressive, isn't it?
Because it's time for Dungeon Crawlers Radio.
Let's get ready to rumble!
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of Dungeon Crawlers, where Scott has decided to take
Where'd
a
he
break.
go? Where did he go?
He just
Where
took a
did
break.
he go?
He went
Did he
for a
get-
Kit Kat bar.
Did he? I thought he got lost in the ecto slime again. Or-
No, maybe. I don't know.
He's pretty talented at going back and forth. It's almost like making a trip to Home Depot for him, you know?
Yeah. It's
Oh,
like,
he was
I'll
a
be on a time
Ghostbuster.
stream or the Ecto stream or whatever.
I'll be back next week,
Wait a minute,
Anna.
the
It'll
river-
seem like 5 minutes
Isn't
to you.
it the River of Goo or something like that?
The river of the river of slime?
Yeah. That's in
Yeah.
Ghostbusters 2.
Yep.
He's there currently taking samples to make sure that the ghosts don't come out and attack us.
He also likes to kayak a little bit.
Yeah. You know,
In goo rivers.
he's probably communing with the spirits.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure he's having a great time there.
Does that mean we need to do an exorcism the next time he's on the show?
Well, if he starts acting weird, maybe.
He doesn't often get possessed.
I'll bring white sage.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
See,
Smells good, too.
it's a lot like Inner Space. He doesn't get possessed. They don't speak through him as much as they speak to him.
Oh, okay.
That
Kinda-
explains
kinda
so
loud.
much.
So, yeah.
Now, before we get into it, should we get some more Scott stories to embarrass him with?
No.
Oh,
No.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I don't
We'll,
wanna do
we'll,
that.
We'll be
avoid that way.
nice.
We'll wait till he's here, and then we can see his face go red.
Yes.
There it is.
Yes.
Yes,
At
and
the
then
same
we'll
time,
Nice idea.
then he can fight back.
and then we'll have a buzzer that will ring to end all of the stories the minute his hair or his face is as red as Daniel's hair.
Sweet.
That will be a nice little meter to go off of
That's
how
the
embarrassed
meter.
he is.
All right.
He reached it.
All right. So with that said, we're going to talk about what has led up to the superhero renaissance. So we're kind of in a renaissance right now with superheroes, with all the superhero movies, with Marvel and DC, all the wonderful TV shows that are out there, cartoons.
Almost a superhero revolution.
Yeah, almost, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in the middle of the geek revolution, I would believe.
Okay, yes.
Yes.
We're
Which
having
is
a
just-
geek revolution amongst the superhero renaissance
Yeah.
of the world.
Yeah. I
Because
mean,
Disney had one back in, the 90s
yes.
with their renaissance. And now they're kind of having their second renaissance with all the Pixar stuff they're doing.
Yeah, I hate to say this, but I miss going to a Disney movie and it not being a cartoon. I really hate all the CG stuff.
I
mean,
do
it's
too.
enjoyable, but I want to go see a cartoon.
Well,
I mean, Moana was great, but it would have been so much better if it would have been a cartoon, in my opinion.
You know what one of my favorite movies is that does not get enough love? The Princess and the Frog, because that is tradition to the extreme,
So-
and it's so good.
I didn't enjoy the story, but I enjoyed the jazz music. I love jazz.
And let's be honest, Dr. Facilier was awesome.
Yeah.
The villain
Jazz
was really
music
good.
is excellent,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
So, it was good. It seemed like that was the last cartoon we got.
It honestly was. And can you imagine how just even more gorgeous Frozen would have been if it was traditionally animated?
Yeah, I mean, I can see why they went CG, and it was
Mm-hmm.
still, again, they're still good. I
Yeah.
still enjoy them, but
They lost an art form.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like now they're working on CG or live action,
Yeah.
and as
Well, except
cool as
they're-
Beauty and the Beast looked, it
And
just
Jungle
didn't-
Book?
It didn't feel. I actually like
I
Jungle
love
Book
Jungle
more
Book.
than the cartoon, which is really hard
Me
to say
too,
because
actually.
I love Baloo's old voice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And King Louie.
Yeah.
Christopher Walken as King Louie just didn't do it for me, and neither did his trying to sing that song.
Yeah.
Oh,
Bill
Christopher
Murray was
Walken
still
sings?
good. Bill Murray was still okay as Baloo, but it just wasn't the same.
No, but that
But
movie
the movie
was so well done.
Well done. It was good. I enjoyed
Which
it.
gives me hopes for Lion King, I have to say. I am looking forward to Lion
So,
King, but I'm
Lion
still
King-
holding judgment.
Lion King is going to weird me out.
Not gonna. Yeah.
Lion King was one of my favorites. In fact, junior year in high school, we went down to Disneyland as part of our tour there, and that's when Lion King came out. So on the bus, we watched it all the way down,
Nice.
all the way back. I got a Simba, I got a Timon. I loved that movie. The sequels after that made it worse.
Yeah.
I mean, even
The music's good.
The 1.5 one they did with Pumbaa and that whole scene where you see all the animals bowing. I was like, all right, this is cool. They're respecting the king of the jungle, and no, it's just Pumbaa passing gas. It's like, what? Ruin an entire scene. But no. Anyways, so it's gonna bug me. Yes, we got James Earl Jones coming back as Mufasa, which awesome.
Yes.
I mean, that's like having Darth Vader come back and it's someone else. It just doesn't work. So
No.
that when that day happens, Darth Vader must be retired.
Agreed.
Cannot show up ever again.
Agreed.
But instead of Jeremy Irons being Scar, which he did a fantastic job, it's Hugh Jackman.
Wait, what?
Yes. I mean, Hugh Jackman is a great actor, great voice actor.
He's not a bad guy actor, though.
I
He doesn't
just
have that bad guy
don't
voice
know
either.
if he can pull off Scar.
Yeah.
Let alone who's going to play young Simba or older Simba, because it's been Matthew Broderick. If they can get Matthew, okay, great, but Jonathan Taylor Thomas is a little too old now to do that young of a voice.
I'm sorry, I'm flabbergasted.
let alone...
And
you-
they
I
have to
don't know,
do
you know,
Timon and Pumbaa, right,
I know,
when it comes
and
to
but
the
those
chemistry.
actors are still there, and they did fantastic. I mean, if you're going to do a live action, bring back the cast. I mean, I understand the younger Simba.
Yeah.
You can't really do that one. But...
Well, I don't know. Jonathan Taylor Thomas doesn't look a lot older than he
Yeah,
did
but
then
his
either.
voice isn't
His
that.
voice definitely
his voice
changed.
is definitely changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, it has.
And then
Yeah,
bring
he still looks
back
12.
Rowan Atkinson as
Zazu.
Zazu, because you got to. I mean, that's the one thing that's kind of bugged me with something like, watching Beauty and the Beast. Ewan McGregor, great voice. Obi-Wan Kenobi, just didn't sell me as Lumiere. Neither did Ian McKellen as Cogsworth.
Well, Cosworth they could have gotten back, but Jerry Orbach died in 2002.
Yeah,
so.
and I understand that they didn't have a choice on that one.
They didn't, but it's like at the same time, I wish they had maybe not. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love
Use
Ewan
his whole
McGregor,
voice.
or they could have gotten a French actor.
Yeah,
There's plenty of French actors out there who are excellent,
Yeah.
who could have done something. You know who I actually thought could have been really fun in that? Gerard Depardieu.
yeah.
I don't know if he can sing, but he could have been really
Come on,
fun.
Well, if they had
anything could have
Christopher
been better
Walken
than
sing-
Pierce Brosnan in my Mamma Mia. That dude cannot
No.
carry a tune.
No.
Now, is it just me? Am I the only one who, when I heard that there's all these live action remakes from Disney cartoons coming out, just kind of goes, I'm not interested.
I'm the same way.
Okay,
I really
I'm
am not.
glad, because I
They're
have
doing-
not seen a single one.
They're doing an Aladdin one, and Will Smith is the genie.
I
Granted-
heard about that. That's terrible.
Granted, yeah, we know Robin Williams can't come back, but seriously,
You
Will
could
Smith,
get someone better than that
Yeah.
stale prince from Bel Air.
we got
Stale
Dumbo.
Prince.
I don't know how they're going to make a Dumbo live action.
Wait, Dumbo?
Yes.
See, and I'm
my
wondering,
Dumbo!
No, all
I'm
of
wondering
them.
when Pete is
All
going to
of them
step
are
up
coming back.
and when they're going to
but
say,
my
we deserve the
Dumbo!
revenue the animals should be getting.
Let
because
alone
we
we know
represent
that
animals.
Dumbo is going to be completely rewritten. Are they really going to show a scene where Dumbo,
Gets drunk to the point where he
that he hallucinates?
hallucinates.
Yeah.
But my Dumbo.
Even though that is one of my favorite songs from that.
Oh, that's
Elephant-
one of the
Pink
best.
Elephants on Parade.
Oh, yeah,
here
yeah.
We are, bibbidi bobbidi. Yeah. So yeah, they're it's like that's what the weird thing. Instead of
But
coming
are
up
they
with
even
new
going to show him
content,
get drunk?
instead of coming up
'Cause-
new content, they're getting rid of everything. They're just remaking it. It's like what? Yeah. Anyways, we're already like almost 8 minutes in, and we haven't even talked about the lead up to the superhero renaissance.
Different kind of Renaissance, at least.
No, this has it lit up. I think this actually feeds into it because we're just getting remakes.
Yeah.
Actually, it
And
does
so-
when you think about it.
And so the superheroes, yes, we've all heard the stories before in comics, but we're finally getting something a new movie.
Yeah.
And so people are craving this, besides the fact we've never really had we haven't had a lot of really good movies. I think it started, at least in my mind, it started when we got the Michael Keaton Batman from Tim Burton. I think before then, Superman was okay, but it was still really cheesy with Christopher Reeves.
Oh,
yeah,
it was
yeah.
so cheesy, but I still love it so
We're
much.
so-
I have
to
every
you,
one of
Superman.
them, even Quest for Peace.
But
I don't have those
I
two.
really like the cheesiness about those because they're almost so
Well,
true to the comic.
Yeah, exactly. It stays true to the character of Superman because let's be honest, at that time, Superman was a cheeseball. I mean, he was all about truth, justice, and the American way. He was that almost stick in the mud when it comes to him being like a moral compass. You know what I mean? He's like, he wouldn't do this, he wouldn't do that.
Well,
He
yeah.
had a girlfriend for 50 years that he didn't marry. So,
What
Yeah.
Superman came out with the late '60s, early '70s?
No.
are we talking the movie?
No,
or
the
are we-
movie. Yeah.
It
Oh,
came out in
the movie.
77.
The movie.
77,
70,
yeah.
77. There we go.
Aw,
Okay.
Dad.
See, and I
know.
kinda feel
a lot
like-
of stuff came out. Star Wars, Superman. And one of my favorites.
Now-
Interesting.
Now, maybe it's just my
Gee.
opinion on this, but I honestly feel like a lot of the stories that came from that era have a certain cheese quality
Oh
to
no,
them
no,
that
I
you
agree.
can't get around.
I agree.
Superman-
Superheroes at that time they kind of evolved from kind of being a kiddie, cheesy thing,
Yeah.
to more of a wow. Adults actually like this stuff.
Yeah, Superman's definitely a product of the times, which is why I think personally Superman Returns failed because they were trying to do that same 70s.
Well, no, I
Feeling.
completely agree. Superman Returns failed Brandon Routh, which is a great actor.
Oh, he's a very great actor.
Kevin Spacey, another great actor, because they tried to, instead of just going, hey, let's reboot Superman, they're like, oh, let's go off with Richard Donner's edit super cut of Superman 2. Let's ignore 3 and 4 and go from there. Superman had a kid with Lois Lane, didn't know about it because he zipped off into space, came back, the world's lived without him, and go. And it felt odd. It felt weird.
I need to find my essay. I have like a 3-page essay about why the world didn't need Superman Returns. And
Yeah.
here's the thing, Bryan Singer, he's a great director, but I think Superman Returns was he grew up with the Christopher Reeves movies, so it was nostalgic for him. But B, it was a love letter to those movies and not necessarily a love letter
and I
to
don't think it
the
was all
character
his fault.
itself.
I
No, I don't think it was either.
I think a lot of it was Warner Brothers and the writers. Because instead of coming up with something new, they just wanted to continue with the old, which I think was the problem with that. Because Brandon Routh did a great job in portraying. The story just was weak.
Oh,
it really was.
There's
He's
two
in my
ways.
top Superman actors, actually, surprisingly.
There's two ways I see them putting out movies, especially when they're redoing an idea.
Yeah.
They're they either have a love for this, they have a good idea, they have a direction they want to go, and they have something that they want to share they think contributes. Or two, it is basically a fishing lure for money.
Well, no,
And
it
I-
is.
And
I think everything is now.
And it really is at this point. I think studios at this point, they're looking for how do we get money in our pockets, because if something goes bad, they're looking for a new job.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
It's not
So they
okay,
need that cushion.
This one failed. Let's bank. How does this one look? It's really you have and because these movies are such a huge budget thing. I mean, if it fails, they're losing millions of dollars. I can understand that.
I think they lost $150 to $2 million in Superman Returns.
Yeah.
See, but I feel like a lot of times you can tell when the difference between, hey, this is somebody like Josh Whedon. You know if he's doing something, it's because he has something to contribute. He has an idea.
Yeah.
He has something to share, and it's going to be worthwhile.
And you can argue the same with Christopher Nolan and Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then there's always that movie that comes out though that seems like, oh, we're a good idea, we're the new one, and honestly, James Cameron's Avatar was one of these. That was a fishing lure. It was, it was the biggest, shiniest, most CG'd fishing lure ever was, but there was no mistake about it. It was a fishing lure.
Well, okay. In defense of that movie, I think it was something new. It was, even though yes, it was.
Okay, it was the newest lore.
The story was lacking, but it was
visuals
new.
were gorgeous.
It really was, and the visuals were gorgeous. That's true, but it was something different. it's something we hadn't seen before. I will give it credit for that.
And you
Okay.
can argue
and I
that,
can't deny that either, because you're right.
But
and you can argue that the cinematography of Avatar has kind of set the bar.
it did. It really launched
It catapulted the bar,
up a
which
butt.
is why we
Because-
have all these amazing movies now.
But at the same time, he did the same thing he did with like Titanic. Built this huge story up, this weird love-hate story going on. Then realized, like at the last 15 minutes, oh wait a minute, this is supposed to be a war story.
Yeah.
Crap. How do I wrap this up? Oh, I'm just gonna blow crap up.
Yeah.
And do it
At least
a
with
lot.
Titanic, he realized that about halfway through.
Here's something I found kind of funny about Titanic. Is that he found out that the positioning of the stars, I guess, in one of the scenes was off
Yeah.
from how it really was. So he spent a lot of money going back and having that changed up. Well, they've come out with new evidence
That it was the original way?
about the Titanic. No, not about the night scene.
okay.
No, that the whole reason the Titanic was traveling at such high speeds is because all the fuel in the bottom of the ship caught fire, all the reserves. So rather than shoveling coal into the burners, everything is on fire, and they're a ticking time bomb. And they were trying to get to New York as fast as they could before they exploded.
Oh, really?
And because there was a fire inside the hull, the belly of the ship, it weakened the hull up to 75%,
Well,
causing
Okay.
an iceberg that normally would have bounced off a ship to pierce the side.
There's
And they
act-
found this because of all the
No,
burn
there-
marks and
there's
stuff.
a
on
My
the
lot
work
side.
of
husband will
interesting
argue with that to heyday because he is a mechanical engineer. Hi, Dave.
It's actually the rivets.
It's the rivets.
The rivets were actually not made out of steel; they're made out of iron, an iron
Okay, yeah.
mix. And so I was actually watching a documentary on it.
I can't watch
and
those.
The steel rivets took up to almost 3 times the amount of pressure before they snapped than these other rivets did. So if they would have smashed into it, the steel ones would have held. Not only that, the communication system at the time it was all telegraph. But
Morse
the problem,
code, right?
Yeah. Well, they did the Morse code, but it was all telegraph. So they're tapping it, the messages out. So the notice of the iceberg came to them, but anything that's supposed to go to the captain is like the very beginning is supposed to be MHS or something like that.
Yeah.
And the one that notified them where the iceberg was didn't come out with that.
Yeah, there was a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
I was just talking
the
about the new
Titanic was
findings that they said
doomed
they're
from-
finding scorch marks and burn marks right by where
there
it
may have
punctured.
been a fire that may have also led up to those rivets failing. Not only that, there was a boat within 2 hours of them.
Oh, yeah.
But because, the guy actually replayed because he had a section of traffic from that night that has been stored in the archives. There was like 15 other boats communicating all at the same time. So the SOS message was buried,
Man.
and there was a boat close enough it could have saved everyone,
Well, and it's crazy.
but they couldn't
when-
hear it.
Yeah.
Well, and it's crazy when you think about it because modern times we know all of this, but again, hindsight is 2020.
And that's really what it is.
Yeah.
Which, again,
We're getting off topic there.
no, it actually leads into the same thing. Is we've been able to see what has worked and what has failed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, just like we did with the Titanic, we have with, the superhero movies. Like, there was an Amazing Spider-Man, and there was a Fantastic Four. They were horrible. I mean, it was done in the same way as Batman, where Spider-Man was climbing up, and he's got his feet planted on the side of the building, and he's holding onto the
Yep.
web, moving up. And, people just didn't believe it. It just didn't catch on.
Well, and here's the thing about
it's a Batman
Spid-
effect.
Yeah.
That's originally a
But it
Adam
started
West.
there. And so they're like, oh, that worked there. Let's do it with Spider-Man, even though Spider-Man's supposed to be shimmying up. And then they kind of
and
got rid of that.
We can't
and then
forget the Lois and Clark TV series in the 90s.
that did work. That
did
was
work.
good. But
That was a very-
It was still kind of cheesy.
Oh, it was totally cheesy. It's mid-90s. What do you expect?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I still loved watching it, and I love Dean Cain. He's another one of my favorite Supermans because now this brings up another thing because I think another part of the Renaissance is the character portrayals. Like, as an example, the only time I for sure remember Clark being the person instead of Superman was Dean Cain.
Yeah. Well, no, they definitely, in Lois and Clark, because it was Lois and Clark, not Lois and Superman,
Yeah.
they really focused on the human side of Superman, which is what the comics have done a lot. You know, Superman does go out and he fights the villains, but at the same time, he is struggling to be on an alien planet and live an everyday life.
As much as I love the Christopher Reeve Superman, I actually love Lois and Clark more for that reason. They focus on his humanity, which is what Man of Steel didn't do.
Yeah. No, and, you know, Smallville succeeded on that.
Oh, I love Smallville.
I still wish we could have seen him in the Superman costume.
You know,
we didn't
he actually
really
did
see
a new interview about that.
Yeah.
Within the last month about that. I'd have to look it up, but yeah, Tom Welling just did a new one, and actually I guess it was his and the original creators' decisions, because when they came on with Smallville, it was no tights,
no flights,
which
is really weird because season 2 he flew.
No, season 4.
Or was it 4?
It was 4.
Oh wait a minute, you're right. It because he was Kal-El.
Let the record show, Mackenzie was right.
No, you're right, because I remember season 1 and 2 it was like Green Meteor Rock Fest. That's right.
But
because it was after he got out of high school.
In the end, because the original creators weren't on the show anymore, it was Tom Welling's decision not to do the full thing because he was honoring the original Smallville.
I'm fine with how it went about. I just wish we could have seen him in the suit at the end when we really didn't see him.
They also said that they talked to him about coming on as Supergirl, but in the end they decided to keep the universes separate.
Well, no, and I read the interview with him, and he really didn't want to do it.
He didn't want to do it.
He felt like he was too old, and it was a lot
man, is
different.
he turning into a silver fox?
And lot different tone. So
what? I could go, girl. Don't judge me.
But he is coming back in Lucifer, which is a DC comic.
I know. I need to get caught. Now, here's my next question. Speaking of TV and Renaissance, is Lucifer worth watching?
Yes.
Okay.
Every second of it.
That's good to know.
So
because he's yummy too.
I've enjoyed it. Which is really funny. A lot of people don't realize that Lucifer, that TV series, is actually based off the DC comic Lucifer.
I did know that. You know what?
And the guy that plays who's the guy that plays the lead detective in Psych?
James Roday?
No, not.
Timothy Omenson.
Yes. So he actually shows up in season 2 of Psych as God. It's very interesting. He's got the full beard and everything like he had on Gallivant. It's very interesting. And Trisha Helfer shows up as Lucifer's mom.
You know what I'm still praying we get in this Renaissance is a Justice League Dark movie. That is in the plans. I know it's in the plans, but it's been in the plans since years.
It definitely is in
if Guillermo
the plans,
del Toro
and they're
gets his
trying
way?
to get is it Matt Ryan that played Constantine?
Please tell me yes, because that was my favorite episode.
I loved that. I loved Constantine.
Oh, and I loved him in Arrow.
I know,
as Constantine.
And that was the best depiction of Constantine I've ever seen.
And here's the sad part.
Keanu
I missed
Reeves
all of it.
Horrible.
I wanted to watch it, but I missed it. And then I heard they had canceled it. I'm like, oh, well, how am I supposed to?
I have the whole season. It's fantastic.
Oh, good. I want to borrow. But I love seeing him come back in Arrow. And here's the thing. I didn't feel like that one was a one-off or a throwaway. You know what I mean? Like sometimes these random characters will pop up. But A, he's exactly what I imagine when I think of Constantine. And it was... And B, he and Oliver were really good together, both in the past and in the present.
Yeah, I wish they can bring that character back more. And if they can do it in the movies, even better.
I want Zatanna.
But the problem that we have, and Warner Brothers has this weird thing, is whoever is in the TV series can't be in a movie, which I think is stupid.
That is.
I mean, already have...
Jeff Johns, that's going away because they said Manu Bennett's version of... Deathstroke, thank you, would never show up again, and he was in this last series finale. Sorry, not series finale. You know what I mean? Yeah. He was in it because Jeff Johns is like, no, that's stupid. We're gonna.
Well, I really hope that becomes the case because you have this fan base already for these characters and these actors.
They said Superman would never show up on Supergirl,
and why not utilize them into a film? I mean, it makes sense.
Oh my gosh,
because the new
I'm
Flash,
still pissed about the Flash.
I don't like him. I don't. I think the one we have on TV is perfect.
Well, what's the whole point behind the guest star? It brings more people in to watch the show. Why not make that guest star a permanent star and then just keep that uprated volume of
I know
viewers?
There's a difference between movie and TV actors, but here's the thing. that's a bunch of bull, because look who is in the DC Marvel TV universe, who was in a lot of the movies.
I mean,
The only way I would say
Bill
that it's,
Coulson, he's been in everything.
yeah, the only way I'd say that there's a difference between movie and TV acting is when it's a sitcom in front of a live audience.
Oh, yeah.
That's where a comedian thrives. That's where that's a whole different story.
I mean,
that's different type of
there
acting.
are a few that have been able to go.
But they're not sitcoms. What these people
You're
are
right.
wanting.
I mean, like Tim Allen, we've seen him in both.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's not in it. The TV sitcom has not gone to a movie. With superheroes, that's a completely different game.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is.
No, that's just a testament to his versatility and how he
For
can
sure.
and
Yeah.
his good acting. But yeah, I mean, we're watching these superhero movies. We don't want a superhero sitcom. We don't need a laugh track behind every
Well, no,
joke
I mean,
or the lighthearted
it's
nature. We
like-
want to see just an extension of that movie for like 30 minutes to an hour.
Well, this is the thing. It would be like, okay, we watched the whole season of Firefly. Now, because they made a movie, they recasted everyone.
Why?
It wouldn't have worked. It would not have worked. That's the reason Serenity is such a great movie, because we had the same actors playing the same characters. Because they've already built up that tone, that feeling for that character, and it's gonna be on the big screen now.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the same. You know, when they do the, I don't understand
When
why
they change
Warner
it up,
Brothers
it's
hasn't.
almost like they're asking you to accept a reboot as the original.
I mean, okay, yeah. I mean, look at Marvel. We have seen Samuel L. Jackson show up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And he's still Nick Fury on the big screen. Why not make it work? I mean, really.
It does work. We've
Yeah.
seen it work already.
And same thing with Agent Carter.
Yeah. Yeah. So, there are so many great pieces to the puzzle that have brought us up. You know, we've had these past movies that have failed. We've had these old TV series that for its time were great, which we will talk about those in another show. But I think it's just been little building blocks. But I think you kind of hit it on the head when we were talking off air before we started the show, is all the people that fell in love with these comics and all the people that really love these characters are now grown up. They're now filmmakers. They're now writers.
Yeah.
They're now prop makers. They're
Producers,
actors, producers.
directors.
Now they're like, okay, I can do this. And they're making, some have failed. I mean,
Spectacularly.
yeah.
Yep.
Others have done a fantastic job. I mean, Zack Snyder, I don't think was a good fit. Man of Steel was okay, but it wasn't. It could have been so much better, in my opinion. Batman versus Superman, okay, could have been so much better.
Yep.
Some
But
of
then
the
there's
casting
Wonder
was bad.
Woman, and
but
that
Wonder
is
Woman,
amazing.
Wonder Woman was amazing.
Yeah.
I'm excited for a sequel. And, I mean, with all the news going on, with all the reshooting of Justice League, I really feel like because of where Zack Snyder took Justice League, and now they're, like, looking at Wonder Woman and what succeeded and everything, they're like, we got to change this, like, a lot. And so that's getting changed. So because if they swing and hit a grand slam with Wonder Woman, and then Justice League comes out and it's a swing and a miss, they're dead.
Oh,
Especially since they're
dead in
coming
the
out
water.
within like 6
Yeah.
months of each other,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, so they really need to hit this out of the park. Otherwise, they're doomed. I mean, they really are.
Marvel's had a home run every time they've stepped up to bat.
I don't know if they've had a home
Well,
run every
okay,
time.
but they've at least put someone on base.
They've had a good, they've at least got someone on base. They've had a
Yeah.
good, solid run.
It's a good
You
baseball analogy
A couple of sequels haven't been as great, but they've still
That's
been
true.
good enough that it hasn't tanked them.
Yeah, they
I was
still
gonna
make
say
money.
Iron Man
Yeah.
2 is still not my favorite.
There's still-
Iron Man
3.
2, Thor 2.
I actually really enjoyed Thor 2.
And
I
I'm the opposite
enjoyed
side
it.
of the fence for both those. I like all the Iron Mans. I like all the Thors.
And that's okay.
I like Thor more when I like him more when when they play up his what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say he's naive about the human world, but I like it more when they kind of do like almost the Superman thing where he's an outcast but they accept him.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like in the first Thor we got that.
Yeah.
And
Well, he lost all of his powers.
and he got
and then he
that
gets hit
humanity.
then he gets hit by a car.
And he got that humanity.
Yeah.
I feel like in Thor: The Dark World and to a lesser extent the Avengers, we lost that a little bit. But
no,
I
we
still
didn't.
enjoy Thor: The Dark World. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie.
So we've got at least with Marvel, Marvel's really fueled this. I mean, they've had hit after hit, got on base, for knocked it out of the park. They've really pushed things. DC, on the other hand, has really pushed it and knocked it out of the park with their television stuff.
Oh,
They
for
really
sure.
have.
Okay, yeah.
Marvel's struggling.
And they're animated.
As far as the
Just
movies
anything
go, I
TV.
feel like they're floundering a little bit
They
more
are.
than
They're definitely
they're swimming.
floundering in the movie section, which
Well-
they have for years, to be honest.
And I think they saw how well the Batman Christopher Nolan movies did, and they're like, oh, this is what people want. They want that darker, grittier, human, like...
Really, I mean, Batman is dark and gritty. That is the truth.
There's
Yeah,
the truth,
can't get away
but
from that.
Superman is not.
Yes,
and
see,
neither is Wonder Woman.
uh,
To a
I
certain
would
point.
beg to differ on Wonder Woman. I think that's why Wonder Woman, that's called the Trinity. Batman
Mm-hmm.
is dark, Superman is light, and Wonder Woman's
She
that
kinda-
balance in the middle. She's both
Yeah.
dark and light. That's why I think that works so well.
Yeah.
Because she's kind of the counterweight between the two. If Batman wants to go too dark, Superman's, of course, no, hey, we can't do that. She's the deciding factor. And
But she's not as gritty as Batman
correct.
is.
She will stop. But at the same time, she's not afraid to kill someone. You know, like the whole Maxwell Lord storyline where he, nanobots or something, had taken control of Superman and was having him go out and wreak havoc. And Maxwell Lord had it set up that the only way to stop Superman from doing this was for him to die.
Yeah.
Knowing that Batman wouldn't do it. Batman will beat the crap out of you, but won't kill. So Wonder Woman did it. She snapped his neck on national television, like in the middle of a press conference. And then was this pariah, but she did what she felt was right to save Superman. Otherwise,
Yeah.
they were doomed, because if Superman's coming after them, the end. Needless to say, fantastic writing. But
And here's my thing with the whole Batman and his killing thing. Really, is putting somebody in a coma the rest of their life, isn't that arguably the same thing as
Hey, he
death?
did not pull
Except
the
the
plug.
heart's still building, still beating.
true. But in Batman's mind, he's not dead. He did not kill someone.
Let's be honest, Batman ain't the healthiest mental superhero
That is
in the
that
mental
is that is
out there.
correct. That
Yeah.
is correct.
Didn't we do
How
a
many
show about
theories
that?
do we have about
Yeah.
him
I
being
mean
a
that
nutcase?
is correct, but that's a line he won't cross.
But if you want to go psychology now, you can argue that Wonder Woman's actually probably the healthiest psychological wise, because she does know right from wrong, but at the same time she's willing to go into the gray area
Yeah.
if she needs to.
And that's what makes that character fantastic. That's what.
I
think
love her again. I was hating
in the
her.
movie. In the movie, they showed that.
Yeah.
You know, she.
Oh, I was hating her in the New 52. And yes, it might have something to do with the fact that she and Superman were dating, which I don't agree with.
Oh, hey. So have you read the new Rebirth stuff? Apparently, they had a kid in that timeline, and he's now in existence. Yeah, very interesting.
Can we
Wonder
move on
Woman
from
and
that?
Superman, huh?
Well, in the new 52, he wasn't with Lois. Him
But
and
here's the
Wonder Woman hooked
he
up.
needs to be with Lois because Lois helps keep him grounded.
And Lois is in the
Is
new
there a
52.
name for
Lois
this
is the one
kid?
that outed him, and then he had to become Archie or whatever.
No, I'm
truck
aware,
driver,
but
yeah.
still, I do not agree with the New 52 in any way, shape, or form.
The
That was
New
the
52
dumbest thing ever.
The thing I liked about the new 52 is the new uniforms that all the characters had. They looked more like armor. Superman got rid of the red underwear over the pants. I really
That's-
liked the costume.
We're talking design, though, not
Yes.
character.
Yes.
It's story.
Design-wise, Jim Lee did a fantastic job.
I will agree with you on that, but the storylines and the characters,
Stories?
it lost a lot of
They
the
did.
humanity.
They really messed it up, but that's because.
but
of
I was
the whole
seriously hating
Flashpoint.
Wonder Woman
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah. No.
And which is stupid, but I did not like how they were writing her. I don't want to call her naive, but I like it when she is, let's say, ignorant of mankind's world because she's been
hasn't
sheltered.
part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, she hasn't been a part of it, and I felt like they lost that.
No. Well, and they did, because they were saying she just barely showed up. Where, as we see in the movie,
Yeah.
she showed up around World War One.
And she saw the
she's-
worst of humanity.
And she saw the world, and she's been there.
Yes.
You know, she realizes she has to love them for their weaknesses and their greatness. And which is what I really loved about the movie, is they really focused
I'm going to see
on,
it again tonight.
on that aspect of the character, and I was so happy they did, is because that's where she gets her power, that's where she gets her strength, is for accepting humanity for as broken, as flawed as they are. Where the rest of the Amazons they're flawed, they're broken, we can't trust them, we can't deal with it, any of them, and she's seen above that. So, and that's where that's the problem we have. Batman always sees them as these horrible
black.
people. It's all black.
It's all black.
Superman is all light.
White.
We must see the best of
Humanity
everyone.
is the greatest, you
yeah.
know? And
you know,
then,
we always have to look at the greatest thing. As
Wonder
much as
Woman
he
is the
hates
gray.
Lex Luthor, he always wants to save Lex Luthor and make him a better person.
And going back to Smallville, I really love Smallville for that reason, because you kind of saw a reasoning in that universe as to why he always hoped Lex would go.
Yeah, no, and that was
man
a
he
great
knew.
story arc, because
Oh,
it's
it was
like
perfection.
they were friends, they were buddies, and he really wanted to pull him from the darkness.
You
that
could
he saw
argue Lex
him.
was the big brother that he
Oh,
never
yeah,
had.
Yeah. No. So
Especially in the early seasons.
That's why we have this great counterbalance that is Wonder Woman, and I think we have this renaissance now because everyone has seen those points and they're bringing it together. All right, we're out of time. We've gone over.
there, didn't we?
We did wander a little bit in the beginning, but I think it all
Came back
flowed in
together eventually.
It did come together, even with the Titanic and Disney. So give us your thoughts, give us your opinions, what you think, why we're in this renaissance, what you think about it. Is it awesome? Is it amazing? You think it's just a bunch of crap? Whatever. Let us know. And until then, we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Toodles.
Are you a fan of Dungeon Crawlers? Then it's time for you to level up your experience. Download our episodes that are released every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And not only that, we want to hear from you. We want to know who you want to hear on the show, what author, what celebrity, what game designers you want to hear. Not only that, we also want to hear what you like about the show. So, with that said, please reach out to info@dungeoncrawlersradio.com, email us on Twitter or Facebook, and let us know what you want to hear on this show, because we want it to be as much of your show as it is ours. So, with that said, we're out of here, and we'll catch you next time.